Ka tira tēnā rā tātou katoa. E tuake nei ahau I tēnei wā kia tuku atu te reo mihi ki a koutou, nau mai haramai ki te pāremata o Aotearoa, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Kia ora everyone, my name's Adrian Rurawhe. I'm the Speaker of the New Zealand House of Representatives, and I've been given the great honour to welcome you all here today for this event. Can I acknowledge Your Excellency Alfredo Pérez Bravo, the Mrs. Bravo, and the diplomatic staff from the Embassy of Mexico. Also to all of the other diplomats who are present here today, and invited guests, Dr. Matthew Omega, I welcome you all here today. Thank you for taking the time to come here and participate in this great event, signifying 50 years of diplomatic relationships between New Zealand and Mexico. This is a very brief welcome to you all, and I'm going to hand over to Matthew now. Nō reira, hurirona, tēnei te mihi ake ki a koutou, tēnā koutou, kia ora mai tātou katoa.
Kia ora tātou, ko Matthew Omar o, ki roto o I te Latin America Cape, he Director o, nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. Bienvenidos a todos, soy Matthew Omar, el director del Centro Latinoamericano de Excelencia de Asia y el Pacífico. Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for welcoming us to today's mini-summit marking 50 years of relations between New Zealand and Mexico. May I add my own greetings too to all of you who have honoured us with your presence this afternoon. We have with us today MPs, ministers and former ministers, ambassadors and former ambassadors, other diplomats, officials from several government agencies in New Zealand, academics, university leaders, students, graduates, exporters, journalists, members of the Mexican community, and members of the public interested in international affairs. A deliberately and excitingly diverse group. In particular, I'd like to acknowledge the attendance here today of New Zealand's Minister of Foreign Affairs, who may be joining us shortly, the Honourable Nanaya Mahuta, the Ambassador of Mexico, His Excellency Alfredo Pérez Bravo, who has been a strong supporter of this event, his fellow ambassadors from Cuba, Chile, Brazil and Peru, representatives from their missions and Argentina and the European Union, former Trade and Climate Change Minister, the Honourable Tim Grosser, New Zealand's first Latin American MP, Ricardo Menendez-March, and the Acting Provost of my own university, Te Heringawaka, Victoria University of Wellington, Professor Mike Wilson. As some of you will be aware, but possibly many of you won't, today is the second of two events this month honouring this milestone. 2 weeks ago, our strategic partner, the Latin American New Zealand Business Council, commemorated 50 years of trade and business links with a breakfast featuring Trade and Export Growth Minister Damien O'Connor and New Zealand companies successfully exporting to Latin America. Our CAPE, our Centre of Asia Pacific Excellence, was delighted to send students from our programs to that event and to coordinate plans for both the celebrations. It is great to have one of their ex officio board members, Sarah Lee, with us today to chair one of our panels. Over the next 3.5 hours, our focus is going to be on other aspects of the relationship, specifically government, university, and people-to-people connections, although you'll see business creep in there too. As you'll have seen from the program you've all received now, I hope, we've got some wonderful speakers lined up to explore some very diverse topics. Government dialogues, research connections, scholarship journeys, and the personal and professional experiences of Mexicans in New Zealand. Please feel free to post on the day as it unfolds and use the hashtag if you can, which you'll see behind us and on your program. Brief word about who we are. Some of you will know us well, others of you will be meeting the Capes for the first time. And so if we could move to the next slide, please. The Capes were founded in 2017 to help New Zealanders engage more successfully with 3 Asia-Pacific regions: North Asia, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. 2 of the Capes, my own in the Southeast Asia Cape, are based at Victoria University of Wellington, North Asia Cape at the University of Auckland. All 3 centres are backed by a consortium that also includes the University of Otago and the University of Waikato. So why do we exist? Well, we're funded by the Tertiary Education Commission, and our basic goal is to transfer academic knowledge to the audiences we were asked to reach. You can think of us as examples of the 3rd mission of universities, how we leave positive impacts on society beyond classroom teaching and academic research. Significantly, while the Capes are managed by those 4 universities, we share the expertise of academics from all New Zealand universities too, as we'll be doing in our university panel today. Similarly, our programs that are aimed at students are open at students at every New Zealand tertiary institution. We have here with us today alumni from several Cape student programs, and we hope you enjoy interacting with them as much as attendees at other of our recent events do. They're a vital part of the talent pipeline we're trying to cultivate, and as we enter our last year of current funding next week, we're going to continue to try and build a legacy for them so that they can be ready when it's their turn to lead Aotearoa New Zealand's relations with Latin America. Significantly too, though, we work with other stakeholders to deliver on our mandate, including many New Zealand government agencies. For example, we work really closely with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and its posts in Latin America, and it's for that reason that we asked New Zealand's ambassador to Mexico, Her Excellency Sara Meymand, if she'd be willing to greet you today as well. She kindly accepted our invitation, and here are her words of welcome, coming and a video recording.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Buenas tardes a todas y todos. Welcome everyone, and thank you very much to the Cape and Speaker Rurawhe for inviting me to participate in today's event. It's my pleasure to be joining you from Mexico City. As we mark the important milestone of 50 years of diplomatic relations, we have the opportunity to reflect on the strength and breadth of the relationship between Aotearoa, New Zealand and Mexico. Mexico is a key friend for New Zealand on multilateral issues. We've worked together particularly closely on nuclear disarmament, the Sustainable Development Goals, and human rights. Mexico is our biggest trading partner in Latin America and a fellow member of CPTPP. Both of our countries have long been advocates of the need for a strong, rules-based international system. The richness of our relationship was demonstrated during Speaker Rurawhe's visit to Mexico in October last year. The Speaker and the parliamentary delegation engaged with politicians, civil society, businesses, and government representatives on issues ranging from inclusive trade, advancing LGBTQ+ rights, education connections, women's rights, and Indigenous language revitalization. It was a particularly special moment to witness the standing round of applause that followed Speaker Rurawhe's remarks and the delegation's waiata before the Mexican Senate. The face-to-face engagement was invaluable. We were all struck by the similarities and the many areas for potential future collaboration. The panels organized today will be a chance to canvass what we've done together the last 50 years and to consider what we want from our future relationship. I look forward to hearing about the outcomes of your discussions. Here's to the next 50 years. May they be as fruitful. Ako mihi nui kia koutou. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Ambassador in absentia. Very soon we will see how well the Ambassador's comments relate to some of the themes you're going to hear about. As many of you also know, however, successful relationships with Latin America have to be reciprocal relationships. For that reason, we were honoured to invite the Ambassador of Mexico to New Zealand to also make some remarks of welcome to you in relation to the bilateral ties we are celebrating. Ambassador, I've had the privilege of working with ambassadors of Mexico for more than a quarter century now, and I know what a difference it makes when your country sends one of its most outstanding diplomats to Wellington. We have all in the Cape team been very grateful for your support for our centre, and more recently for inviting us to organise a celebration too. So I now ask you to welcome our attendees today with some reflections on how you see the relationship between our countries. I invite you to the podium.
Thank you very much, Matthew, for your kind words. When we were planning this great event, the biggest challenge maybe was the time. So we need to constrain the presentation. So I received only 4 minutes, and I already used one. So I was thinking, what can I say in this very important day? And I realized that I'm not going to speak about how is the bilateral relation and what are the main points. What I want to speak and to say is about the people who is in this room and who make possible that this bilateral relation is one of the most exemplary relations without conflict in full speed of cooperation. So let me start with Tēnā koutou katoa. Good afternoon y muy buenas tardes. Today is a very special day for us Mexicans living in this beautiful country. In this parliamentary space, where speech and dialogue are privileged, we celebrate 50 years of diplomatic relations between New Zealand and Mexico. 50 years of friendship, cooperation, and joint work on major bilateral and global issues. Our birthday party could not have better guests than those who are with us today. And it could not be happening in more fitting place than here, the New Zealand Parliament buildings. For all this, I wish to express my gratitude to the Right Honourable Speaker, Adrian Rurawhe. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for inviting us to your home. Thank you very much for your time and your participation in this meaningful binational event. Last October, the Right Honourable Adrian Rurawhe and other New Zealand parliamentarians traveled to Mexico, the highest level visit in recent years. I take this opportunity to thank you again, Mr. Speaker, for this historic visit and for your support for the strengthening of bilateral ties between our two countries. The next paragraphs are for the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So let me believe she's here. She will. But I just want to say that for me, in particular for me, it's a great honor to know that the minister is coming. The minister presence in this event is extremely important and is very significant, because she has been always, since the very beginning, show her support and the warmth she feels for Mexico and Latin America. As you know, a few days ago, the President of Mexico appointed a new Minister of Foreign Affairs, an intelligent woman with great international experience, Alicia Bárcena. What better news that the two brilliant women are leading the foreign policy of our two countries. For this reason, I really want to extend an invitation to Minister Mahuta to visit Mexico and to give my minister the opportunity to meet her in person. On a personal note, I would like also to thank with the great team of the New Zealand Foreign Ministry. All of you are really doing a fantastic job supporting our work, especially from the embassies and the Embassy of Mexico. In these words of gratitude, please allow me to include your ambassador to Mexico, Sara Meymand, who has done a brilliant job in my country. The organization of this great event to commemorate 50 years of friendship has been carried out to a great extent by CAPE, well, to the whole extent, the Center of Asia Pacific Excellence. For this reason, I express my deep gratitude to Dr. Matthew Omar, Director of LATAM CAPE, for your invaluable support. Thank you very much, Matthew. Also, I want to thank Matthew because he has made a great work bringing New Zealand closer to the countries of Latin America. Once I called you the Tsar of Latin America and New Zealand, and you are the Tsar, my dear Matthew. Thanks to Craig and to all the team of CAPE, we have an event, important event in Auckland recently, and without you, we couldn't make it. Thank you very, very much. I just want to say thank you to my dear colleagues, ambassadors, for the time, for being here with us, the Ambassador of Brazil, Chile, Cuba, Peru, and the other diplomats that are this afternoon with us. In the different segments of today's panels, prominent parliamentarians, former government ministers, academics, diplomats, and experts in different fields will participate. To all of them, I express our appreciation and gratitude. In particular, I want to thank Fernando González, Director General for Asia Pacific of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Mexico, and to renowned academics such as Miguel Ijar and Roberto Dondish, who are also in Mexico participating today. Of course, I cannot finish without mentioning Ricardo Menendez, a Mexican, New Zealand parliamentarian, and we also thank you for all your support. I could not conclude without expressing my gratitude to the Mexicans here today, to the Mexican community. Déjenme decirles, lo he dicho siempre y lo voy a decir ahora nuevamente, en esta casa de la democracia, los mexicanos en Nueva Zelanda aportan con firmeza, con sus talentos, con su capacitación, con su preparación, con su gran corazón. Me siento muy orgulloso de la comunidad mexicana aquí, de todos, de los más de 3,000 mexicanos en toda la geografía de Nueva Zelanda. I feel very proud of the Mexican community here because you have given to this country a lot. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody for being this afternoon. As you can understand, is the most important activity, at least for me in 4 years as ambassador in New Zealand, that I can be participating. So finally, let me wish to New Zealand and Mexico another half century of great friendship and collaboration. Thank you very much y muchas gracias.